Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Andy Moo, also known as Andy Chu. Uh, for those that doesn't know the context, this is a video response to Sora. We are in this Kid Buu versus Buuhan debate. There are more context to this, but I'm not going to go too in-depth for this part of the video. There's going to be a part 2 video, which I'll talk more about that. But just know that, this is about Kid Buu versus Buuhan, and if you are interested in this, you can continue listening. But this is mainly to address Sora, all right? And the reason why we are choosing this format is because I was told that, it is really hard to read, long wall of text. And I tend to type a lot because I want to explain things in detail so that it's easier to understand. So I feel that this format will be a bit easier to digest. I mean, you don't have to read walls of text anymore. You can probably just listen to me. And I've always wanted to do a live debate, right? So I feel that it's more interesting than just, typing long walls of text and then wait for the other guy to type a long wall of text. And I just don't like typing, right? Like, despite how much I type, I really hate it, and I really much prefer a live debate, But the feedback I get is from the Kid Buu side. By the way, I'm on the Buuhan side, right? From the Kid Buu side, whenever I ask for live debates, I usually don't get a response. And one of the critique of live debate is this, which is, what if on the spot I have some kind of stage fright and I can't respond to the point, but later in the shower I have this point that I can counter, but it's already too late. I mean, I'm in the shower and the debate is over, right? So a fair point, and I think it might not be fair because for me myself, I've been to quite a few live debates, right? So I agree that it's not fair for you all to have a live debate with me, especially if you have never been to a live debate before. So I think this format can be a compromise, which is we can shoot videos, all right? You can take as long as you want to record the video, all right? For me, I'll be doing the video. You can still reply me in text. I don't really care, all right? But you can take your time to watch the video, right? Digest all the information, think clearly about your counters, what are the points you want to address, and then you can reply to me. Okay, I think moving forward, let's try this format for a while. Okay, so let's get straight to it. So this is the response you see on the screen that I gotten from Sora. Okay, so over here you can see that there's a long wall of text, and I just group it up into the first part, second part, and the last part over here. So the first part and the last part are more focused on logic, because both of us will be talking quite a bit about logic, right? And the middle part is actually more focused on Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus Kid Buu, as well as the Genki Dama, right? There will be some logic involved in part 2 over here, right? But not a lot. But the first part and the last part is very logic focused. So my plan is this. Since these two parts are both about logic, I'm going to stitch them together, right? So that the flow is better. And I'll address them in part 2. Okay, because the logic understanding that is required to understand these two parts is a little bit tougher, right? So I'll be introducing some simple logical concepts and fundamentals in this first part over here, which is SSJ3 versus Kid Buu and the Genki Dama. Very, very simple logical stuff so that we can just get started. All right, so now let's take away the first part, and I think we are left with this. All right, let's just erase this because we don't need this anymore. Wait, okay, I was in the wrong layer. Let's delete this. Okay, so what do we have here? So Sora said Damien did prove that, which is the other guy that I have a PD with, right? So what do you mean over here? So Damien did prove that Kid Buu is stronger than Buuhan or Goku. I think he's not being very clear over here. I think let's assume that he's saying they did prove that Kid Buu, let's say Kid Buu is K is stronger than Buuhan, right? So Buuhan will be B, right? He shows greater feats than what he did versus SJ3 Goku, and what he did versus SJ3 Goku show an extreme level of casualness, right? Like playing mid-fight, never got tired, and never kept any damage, unlike the other Buus when they fought opponents relative to them. Okay, so inherently, thus Kid Buu is proven to be above SJ3 Goku. Okay, good, very good. So before we start to analyze this first part, right, let's just do a very simple introduction to logic. So let's say you have an argument. Let's say you have an argument, right? So if you have an argument, you will need premises, right? So in this case, we can label the premises as P1, P2, P3, so on and so forth. So let's say I have a premise over here. So the premise can be Gohan, right? Gohan can dodge bullets, right? Premise 2 is Vidal is slower than bullets, right? She's slower than bullets. And premise 3 is this happens, right? Oops. So therefore, the conclusion is Gohan want to take a sniff, all right? So that is like the structure of an argument, right? But just so that you all know, even though this is an argument with the three premises, right? The conclusion is actually flawed. just that you know, the conclusion is flawed. Okay, because it's not logical, right? Even though you have the premise and things like that, this might not be true because the conclusion is drawn too hasty, right? So you cannot jump to, okay, so Gohan didn't dodge, that means he want to take a sniff, right? There can be other reasons why he is not dodging. For example, like maybe he doesn't want to reveal his identity to show how fast he actually is, right? Yeah, and because of context as well, because we know Gohan is, you know, it is pure enough to ride the Nimbus. In this case, if it's Master Roshi, then yeah, probably wants to take a sniff, right? So how about an argument that is a little bit that's more sound? So this argument is not sound because the conclusion is not right. Okay. So can I think of another premise? So let's have something like perfect cell. Okay, P stands for perfect cell is stronger than let's say Trunks, right? Stronger than Trunks in his Super Saiyan Grade 3, right? That's the first premise. Okay, so before we continue, maybe I should explain what a premise is. So a premise is a statement that can be either true or false. Okay, so that's the first criteria of being a premise, is it can be true or false, and it is going to be used in an argument. So for example, the previous example, so we have P1, P2, and P3. So those are premises, all right? And the argument is that, you know, because of P1, P2, and P3, Gohan wants to take a sniff, right? That's the argument I'm trying to make, okay? So in this case, we have a premise that I'm going to use in an argument. So you'll be seeing the argument later. You'll be seeing the conclusion of the argument later, right? So P1, perfect cell is stronger than Trunks. And premise 2 can be, let's say, super perfect cell is stronger than perfect cell. All right. So the conclusion is super perfect cell is stronger than Trunks Super Saiyan Grade 3. Right. So for example, if someone say that Super Saiyan Grade 3 Trunks is actually stronger, and the reason why Super Perfect Cell can one-shot Trunks is because Trunks wasn't transformed. He's like being shot from the back, and he was unprepared. He was in this base form. You can argue that, you know, that's not going to be true, because from this logic, right, premise 1, perfect cell is already stronger than trunks, and since super perfect cell is stronger than perfect cell, we can therefore logically conclude that super perfect cell is stronger than trunks. This is transitive power scaling, by the way, right? So we can use this to deduce that super perfect cell is stronger than trunks. Okay, so with that out of the way, right, let's go back to, where is it? Is it this part? Yeah, here we are. So over here, what Damien and Sora is trying to prove is this. So we can break this down into a similar, logic equation. So what is the equation over here? Like, after saying all this, they are trying to say that okay, let's write it down very clearly over here. So let Kid Buu, Kid Buu is K, right? And then Goku is G, right? And we have Buuhan. Okay, Buuhan is B. Okay, so let's form a logic equation. So let's say we have Kid Buu, right? So Kid Buu is stronger than Goku. That's their first premise, isn't it? All right. So remember, I said that a premise can be true or false, right? So by right, we will need evidence to see if Kid Buu stronger than Goku is true or not. But let's not do that now. Let's assume that Kid Buu is stronger than Goku, right? Because that's one of their premises. And let's say that we let it be true in this case, okay? And then we have the conclusion that Kid Buu is stronger than Buuhan. Can you see something is wrong with this logic? K is more than G, therefore, so this is the conclusion, therefore, Kid Buu is stronger than Buuhan. I think even if you are not trained in logic, you can sense that something isn't right. So you're right to feel that, because this isn't logically sound, because there's something wrong with the structure, right? Because we don't really have a relationship between B and K, or B and G, right? In the premise, there's no information on that. So we cannot deduce from K stronger than G or K more than G, and then use that to conclude that K is more than B. All right? But what about we add some more context over here, right? Some more premises, not context, because over here we have Kid Buu more than Goku, right? So premise 2, maybe we try to have something that relates Goku to a Buuhan, right? So I think most of you will agree, right, that Buuhan is stronger than Goku. I mean, Goku straight up just gave up the fight. And I don't remember that happened many times in Dragon Ball, right? He at least tried versus Cell. I mean, he tried and he gave up in the end. But I think Buuhan probably is the first character I can think of that he just gave up right off the bat, right? I think Super Buu as well. Like, he doesn't want to fight Super Buu as well. But okay, let's say we have premise 1 and premise 2, and then we have a conclusion that K is more than B. Can you see the issue again? the logic doesn't add up, isn't it? All right. Even if B is more than G, how can I know that K is definitely more than B? Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, let me try this. Let me try this. So let me do this. Because some of you are already using, I mean, some of like Sora, they are already using ChatGPT. So let's see if I can bring out. Okay, so how you do it is bring out an incognito window, and then just go to ChatGPT, right? And then just hope that it's good at logic. I mean, I haven't really tested it to see how good it is, but as a language logic model, I'm going to assume that it's going to be good. I mean, this is worth so much, right? So I will assume that this is going to work. let's see, right? Like what I keep saying, when you're using ChatGPT, just oops, my face start changing because I'm using the shift key. My face will just keep changing because of my toggle, right? Just don't worry about it. But let's say premise one. Okay, so Kid Buu over Goku. Then the conclusion is okay. So this conclusion. K B. Notice that over here I didn't even say I didn't give it any context of what K, G, and B is. We know who they are, but ChatGPT doesn't know it. So just based on this logic, see what happens, right? Okay, so the explanation is we are given K more than G and nothing about B exactly. There's no information linking G and B, yeah, beyond the single premise. So it's not logical. All right, so don't take my word for it. Right, there's not enough information like I say, right, for us to make the claim that this is logically sound, right? It's just not true, right? And let us try again. If we have the next one, which is premise one is K more than G, and premise two is what Buuhan is more than Goku, and conclusion is K more than B. Again, you can see that it's not logical. So I think Sora was telling me that can you explain this in a very simple way? You notice that I didn't even challenge your premises. I'll just take it as it is true. But even with that, even if I use your premise, it won't logically lead to the conclusion that Damien or you claim that it would reach. Because this is a simple logic equation. So every time when I see that, because Kid Buu is stronger than Goku because of this, because of that, therefore Kid Buu is stronger than Buuhan, I'm like, what? like the logic just doesn't logic, right? And that's the reason why. Okay. And let's go one step further. Let's go one step further now. All right. Let's try to see if this premise is it true or not. Because my argument is this premise is not true. Because one of my premise is this. Okay, so mine is this. So you look at my equation. My equation looks like this. So premise one. Right? Premise one is K equals to G, meaning Kid Buu is equal to Goku. Right? Whether that is true or not, we can evaluate it and analyze it later. But like what I say for your side, I just assume that it's true that K is more than G. So now we assume that K is equal to G, right? And let's see what happens next. And premise two is B more than G, right? Then the conclusion I get is B is more than K. I think you will be able to see that, that is logical, isn't it? Right? So again, don't take my word for it. We can just so incognito again, right? Just go to ChatGPT, and then we have B Buuhan is stronger than Goku. Then you conclude that Buuhan is stronger than Kid Buu. Yes, so it's logical, right? It logically follows the premise. Okay, so now we know that these two, no matter how you argue it, even if you say that this is true, logically you can't lead to here. Same with this one, right? But this you can. All right. So you just realize something. The key is if this is true or not, right? Because I don't think you're arguing against this, right? That Buuhan is stronger than Goku. If you are, let me know, right? But I don't think so, right? So now the key is this true? Because if this premise is true, then this has to be true. Am I right? And that's also the reason why some people have to keep this premise true. Because if this premise is not true, what happens? This becomes true, right? So they have no choice but to argue that Kid Buu is stronger than Goku. Because if it's K equals G, or even worse, if it's G over K, then it gives the same result, right? B will be more than K, right? If Goku is stronger than Kid Buu, you know, like that Buuhan, yeah, it will lead to the same conclusion, right? That's all I'm saying. Okay, so now let's look at this premise. Let's look at this premise, right? And let's look at the evidence that is given to support this premise. So in an argument, right, the premise have to be true, the logic have to be valid. With those two things, you will reach an argument that we call sound, a sound argument. All right. But if, let's say, your premise is untrue, even if your logic is valid, it will still be unsound because one, your premise is not true, right? In this case, it doesn't even matter if the premise is true or not, because logically it just doesn't work. It's not valid logically. Okay, so let's look at this premise alone, and let's look at it this way, right? Let's delete this, right? So we have this premise, which is why am I not writing anything out? Oh, because I'm using white. Let's take back the red. So premise 1 is Kid Buu, you know, stronger than Goku. Alright. Then what are the evidence? So evidence, right? So evidence show over here. So let's have some evidence, right? So E1 is playing mid fight. So Kid Buu is playing mid fight, right? So Kid Buu, or just short form like K, is playing mid fight. Okay, very good. We have our first evidence, right? So we have a second evidence, which is, why is it? Is they never got tired. Okay, so Kid Buu never got tired. Okay, that's very good as well. As you can, if you have read the manga, you know that that is true. I think Kid Buu never got tired in his fight with Goku, right? So E3 is nor kept any damage. Unlike the other Buus when they fought opponents relatively. Okay, I'll address that later, but let's say it is true, right? So let's say Kid Buu never kept any damage. The funny thing is it's interesting that Sora actually argued like this, because I can actually accept this, because some Kid Buu supporters actually says that Kid Buu wasn't damaged. Then I will be asking them this question. So Kid Buu can regenerate, and he regenerated, right? Then they will say yes, and then I'll say, what are they regenerating from? If you are not damaged, there is nothing you are going to be regenerating from, isn't it? Right? So over here, Sora is right to say that Kid Buu never kept any damage. In other words, Kid Buu was damaged by Goku in this fight, a lot to be honest, but he just kept regenerating back to full health. Okay, so are there any other evidence over here? Okay, I think that's all right. Playing mid-fight, so those are the 3 evidence. If you have more evidence, feel free to let me know, or list it down here, right, in your response. It's all right, you can just keep listing out evidence, right? So now we have 3 evidence. So why not we do this? Because the evidence are here to support the premise, right? But we can also do this thing. We can now change this to an argument, right? We can choose to the conclusion of an argument, and then all this will be this evidence can be upgraded to a premise, because now we're using them for an argument, right? So let's do this. So and to make it easier, bring this down. So this is my my conclusion. My conclusion will be Kid Buu is stronger than Goku because of these 3 premises. Kid Buu is playing mid fight, right? He never got tired, and he never kept any damage. Okay, so let's look at each of this premise one by one. All right, let's look at the first one. Kid Buu is playing mid-fight. So now we need to look at the evidence that's supporting this premise. So now we go back to here. So P1, right? Like K is playing mid-fight. I'm just going to copy and paste this. I'm not going to write the whole thing again. Right? So Kid Buu is playing mid-fight. All right. So now we need evidence, right, to support that Kid Buu is playing mid-fight. So where do we find the evidence? We need to read the manga, isn't it? So let's go and look at the manga, right? Where are my mangas? So let's go to the fight. I think the fight is over here. Give me a minute. Okay, found it. This is the fight, right? Kid Buu is playing mid-fight, right? So let's go to the fight, right? Let's go to the fight. Is my face blocking? No. Okay, let's fast forward to the part where is he playing mid-fight? Where is he playing? Which part is he playing? Is this playing? Is this playing? Like the fight haven't started. So now the fight started, right? Is this panel playing? Is this panel playing? Is this panel playing? Is this panel considered playing? Is this playing? Looks like he's shocked, right? Is he playing? He's like trying to stop himself, you know, by expanding his body, right? Then is he playing over here? Looks like he's throwing a kick, right? I have a feeling the panel you are talking about, is it this panel? So you go here. Is it this panel? Because this panel is often used as evidence that, hey, Kid Buu is like emoting or playing. Is that the, I assume that is the panel, right? Because there isn't any scans attached, but I'll assume that this is the panel. Correct me if I'm wrong, all right? So my question now is, yeah, he looks like he's kind of like playing around, right? Because he's like slowly regenerating. So he is playing, but is he playing in the middle of a fight? Is this considered a middle of a fight? If this is considered a middle of a fight, can I say that Goku is casually chatting with his buddy Vegeta over here in the middle of a fight? And therefore, I can prove that Goku is a lot stronger because it's the middle of a fight and he's chatting with his friend over here. Can I see the issue over here? The fight paused. Hence, he is slowly regenerating. Okay, a bit of background on what I actually do. All right, I'm a comic artist and a manga artist. All right, full time. Debate is just like my hobby. You know, I used to debate in my secondary school when I was about 16, 17, 18. You know, around those ages. And after that, I didn't really debate a lot after that. Right. But I studied manga and anime my whole life. Right, so I draw this, I analyze this, I freelance for Bandai Namco, Anime Max, Asia, all these companies, and I'm just going to help you all understand and read this manga a little bit better. Because even though now, for example, me, Sora, Damien, Manny, we are both on opposite side of this debate, right? But the common thing about us, we all like Dragon Ball. I mean, if you don't like Dragon Ball, we won't be discussing this topic, isn't it? Like, we have a passion for this. So my goal here is not really to prove you wrong. It's more to really help you appreciate this manga more, right? Because this manga is beautiful, right? And over here, we see that Kid Buu is regenerating slowly. And okay, I forgot to mention in the beginning, this video, I'm going to talk about things that I've never seen any other VTuber or YouTuber talk about. I've watched a lot of Geekdom, Aquaman, even Seth the Programmer, right? But none of them really touch on some of the things that I'm going to touch about. Or maybe they have, but I haven't watched it. Alright. Or maybe there's some YouTuber out there that already cover it. But do let me know if they cover it. I do want to follow that channel if they cover things like this. Alright? Because I'm seeing this from the lens of a manga artist. So I might be able to catch things that, people might not see. Here's a question. Why is Kid Buu emoting over here? Why is he slowly playing over here? Right? From a writer's perspective, why do you think that happened? You can pause for a while to think about it. Okay, I'm going to review the answer. Watch this. What is going on when Kid Buu is emoting? What is happening in these 2 pages? Right? I know it's in Chinese, but if you just bring out your English version and you read it, what is happening over here? What is happening over here is what we call exposition, right? So what is exposition? Exposition is the writer have some information that I want the audience to know. And one of the easiest way for me to let you know the information is through the mouth of the characters. Okay? So now Goku and Vegeta, they're having this conversation, right? And imagine this. Imagine now the fight did not pause. Imagine now Kid Buu is relentlessly chasing after Goku. You won't have the space for this 2-page of exposition. So when Toriyama is writing this, right, he knows that, okay, now I need to give the audience some information. But Kid Buu and Goku, they are fighting. They can't just, Goku is fighting and then give exposition at the same time. I mean, it can be done, but, it will be very awkward. So he's thinking to himself, why not we pause the battle, all right? And, okay manga artist, they'll just pause the battle, give the exposition, and that's it. But I think Toriyama is a genius. So he explained it in his how to draw manga book. That he has a book that teaches you how to draw manga, right? So he will say that when you're creating the story, try to think, what would your character do in this scene? Okay, so when the fight is paused, when Goku stopped attacking, what would Kid Buu do? And if Kid Buu need to do something that is suitable for his character, but it's not overly aggressive to ruin this exposition moment, what could he have done? This is the thing he came up with, which is genius, right? Just down here doing a belly dance while slowly regenerating is such a cool visual. And that's the reason why he's slowly regenerating, because to give time for Goku and Vegeta to give the exposition. This is a meta read on this whole thing. Right? I mean, in universe, it's because he doesn't care, because like he's like playful and things like that, right? And because he's not under constant attack, that's why he can afford to do this. All right, and so here's the proof that I'm going to give that Kid Buu can only do this if the battle is paused. Let's go and read the next few pages. So next few pages is Vegeta say, I'm going to help you out for 1 minute, right? And I'm going to charge at Kid Buu, and now at this page, round 2 starts with Vegeta, all right? And you see what happens next? The instant regeneration. When the battle starts, the battle is not paused. I mean, Vegeta started already, right? Round 1, the timer goes off, ding, the bells rings, right? Instantly, right? You just do this, and then you fire this, and what happens? Half of his body is blown off. And Vegeta does his Vegeta technique that never accomplished anything, right? So let's go back to here. Okay, so imagine now for a second. Imagine if you are Toriyama, and if your intention is to show that, oh, Kid Buu is so incredibly strong that he can emote mid-fight, how would you present this? You will probably you don't need to let him regen, right? He can still be half wriggling around, half regenerating, and Vegeta can be throwing this beam at him, and he will still be slowly regenerating. He wouldn't care. He doesn't need to, brace himself and jump to try to avoid the thing. No, he could just stand there, tank the whole thing, and continue slowly regenerating, right? That reminds me of the scene where, if you watch this Screw Attack Death Battle thing where, Goku versus Superman. Goku fires a Kamehameha, I think, and Superman just walks through it. Such bullshit. But that shows that Death Battle want us to feel that Superman doesn't give a shit about this Kamehameha. He's so strong that he's casually taking a stroll inside the Kamehameha. Right? It's a very cool visual, but I feel that it's really dumb. But, yep. So, the claim that he is playing mid-fight is not true. The fight paused. And I give you some bonus information on why it's paused. Right? It's because for the exposition to happen. Alright. We'll talk more about the exposition later. This is a very important exposition. There's 2 pages worth of exposition, right? This 2 pages is actually very important to give us a very important context of this whole battle for us to determine, the power scaling, right, among all these characters that we're talking about, right? So now let's close this for a moment. So if you have any counter to this, let me know, because I feel that that should be enough evidence to rule out this premise. This premise is not true, right? So I'll just mark a cross. I'll just mark a cross, right? And this is the state where of this premise right now, right? And here's the thing about the debate, right? If you want to challenge, my analysis of this premise, you still can do it, but you have to do it, and you have to be you need to have a logical argument that is sound enough, right, to counter it, right? And you can't just say something like but there are other evidence that shows that no, you have to go back to this, right? And you have to address the points I made, right? And explain why those points doesn't matter or is illogical somehow, things like that, right? And we'll take note, because at this point this is untrue for now until you're defended. That's how a debate works, right? So second premise, Kid Buu never got tired. Is that true? Okay, I'll just say it is true. I mean, if you read the manga, I'll just give you all this. It is true. He never got tired. Never got tired, right? But is this premise enough to form a logical conclusion that Kid Buu is stronger than Goku just because he never got tired? The answer would be no, right? Because, for example, I now say that Android 18 never got tired, right? Because if you read Dragon Ball, I don't want to pull up the manga, but Android 18, if you know the context is, she's an android, right? She was stated to have infinite, energy or something, right? That means she never gets tired, right? She can handle Krillin all day. But she's weaker than, I think, Super Vegeta, right? In Cell at that point, is weaker than Semi-Perfect Cell, right? And all the characters that come after that, a lot of them are stronger than 18. So I can't say that 18 never got tired, therefore she is stronger than Super Vegeta, for example. I can't make that claim, right? And the next one is Kid Buu never kept any damage. Okay, so this one is interesting because is this enough? Is this enough? Right? Because it is not damage. That means it must mean that Kid Buu is stronger, right? But you need some contextual evidence on what Buu is, right? Have Buu ever kept any damage? Think about it. Let's go through all the Buus. So we have let's go through the fights where Buu is damaged, right? So one of the fights that he is damaged is Super Buu will be Gotenks, right? Gotenks. So let's look at his fight with Gotenks, and he was damaged quite badly by Gotenks to the point that the story almost ended, right? With if only the fusion lasts for a few seconds more, we will have an early conclusion to Dragon Ball. Right? I'm just going to fast forward this, right? So let's just look at this. So over here we have, I think we are close to the part. This part. So they are fighting, blah blah blah, hit, and you can see that heavily damaged, right? And Goten is like, I'm going to kill you. Just stop talking. Just fire the thing. It's too late. And here we are. And look at this. Did Super Buu kept any damage? I don't think so. So does that mean Super Buu is stronger than Gotenks? No, right? So how can you use this? And we have more examples because after that we have Gohan, right? So Gohan did this to Super Buu. I mean, it is it's a totally one-sided fight. And yeah, so he was damaged, he's pissed, right? And then boom, kaboom, he self-destruct, But Gohan survived because he might look like Yamcha, but he's not Yamcha, right? So self-destruct doesn't work on him. And here we are. Yeah, and he's back, and he's no damage. Ki never drops, right? Like everything, like he's back as new, good as new. So he is stronger than Gohan. No, right? We can't say that, right? And I'm not going to pull up a Buuhan versus Vegito because it's the same thing. Just go and read it, right? Buuhan is back to full health after his fight with Vegito, right? So we can't say that because Kid Buu never kept any damage. That means Kid Buu is stronger than Goku. We can't do that. So okay, before I conclude this, think about this for a second. Like, there is a time where we see a Buu form cap damage. When did that happen? Think about it. When did that happen? Fat Buu towards the end. Remember that? So there is a moment where we have a Buu that actually is damaged and the damage was capped. Right? And it's very rare because I don't think there's any other instances where that happened, right? It is so rare that, watch this, so if we just look at the fight and blah 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 blah, and okay, like this, you can see that, can I see it? And okay, so I think this is the panel that I remember. This is also probably one of the only panels that a Buu form is shown to be tired. He seems to be panting over here with the sound effects, and you see his mouth half open. That is the only time you see a Buu form actually, looking physically tired, right? The rest is you show that he got hurt, right? He got hurt, right? So over here, and can I say that he didn't regenerate. He didn't regenerate, right? So he's just lying down there now, and I think there's a panel. Let's go back a little bit. I think it's over here. There's a panel where Vegeta actually says that, oh, so because he noticed something. Yeah, here, this is a panel. So do you notice Kakarot? The fat guy, the fat Buu, his power is decreasing, and he said that, oh, so it turns out that if both of them are Buus, it's possible for the Buu to keep the damage, to get hurt and keep the damage, right? Okay, another question. Why is it that Toriyama made such a weird rule out of nowhere? I never seen anybody talk about this before. Why do you think that he made this rule? Because it's weird, right? Because it never happened before, but why did he create this rule? Here's my speculation, right? He created this rule because he wanted Fat Buu to be alive at the end of the story. And in order for Fat Buu to be alive, right, he needs Fat Buu to be defeated by Kid Buu, but at the same time, not to the point of him being killed and totally destroyed, right? Because imagine if Kid Buu can keep regenerating and have infinite stamina when he's fighting against Kid Buu. What will happen? The whole fight will be a stalemate, isn't it? Because Fat Buu will just keep coming back, right? And Kid Buu won't have the time to face the Spirit Bomb alone, right? That won't happen. You won't have that scene anymore, right? Instead, you might have Fat Buu, holding Kid Buu together, and then the Spirit. I think Toriyama doesn't want that. He wants Fat Buu to be out of the picture somehow. But the only way to stop someone from being in the scene is to just knock out that person. Usually it can be done because you can do that for almost every character. You can knock out Vegeta, so Vegeta is not in the scene anymore. You can knock out any other character, but Buu is different. Buu always regenerate back to full health. So he need to come up with something, some reason that Buu is not in that final scene actively, doing things. He need to knock out Buu somehow. That is what I think the reason is, right? But anyway, that's the only instance, right? And it's a special case. It's so special that even Vegeta need to give an exposition, right, to explain that. So they're both Buus. That's why Fat Buu can get damage, right? But that's besides the point, because now all these three premises, one of them is proven false by me as of now, right? And the two other premises cannot lead us to the conclusion. So as of now, we are not saying this is definitely untrue or this is wrong. We are saying that, okay, so in logic is very important. I'm not claiming that this is wrong. We are saying that we don't have enough premise to say that this is true. Okay, you follow the logic of that. I'm not saying this is 100% wrong, but we cannot say that this is 100% true right now. So the status of this conclusion or this argument that Kid Buu is stronger than Goku, we cannot say that it is true. Okay, got it? And there's actually more to this. There's actually more to this. Yeah, which. Should I explain it? Should I explain it? Because if you look carefully at the equation, right? Because some people might argue this. It's like, although this is not logically sound, right? This is not logically sound, isn't it? Not logically sound, like we have already proven. But you can't say that this is not possible, right? You can't say that this is not possible, right? Because if we manipulate the numbers, right, we can probably still get K is more than B if you want to, I guess. I might need to punch in some numbers. Give me a minute. Okay, so actually before this, I actually asked and tagged, I think who did I tag? I think I tagged Manny, Sora, maybe Freddy, and even Damien. I think I just tagged all those that are on the opposing side and asked you all this question where I know you all think that Kid Buu is stronger than Buuhan. So how many times stronger do you think Kid Buu is stronger than Buuhan? Or just give a description, right? Slightly stronger. As well as if Buuhan is stronger than Goku, how many times do you think Buuhan is stronger than Goku? I just want to know the thoughts. And maybe instead of me putting in the numbers myself, you can count with the numbers. I will give you my reasoning of why I put in certain numbers. Right. So for example, Buuhan is stronger than Goku. How many times do you think Buuhan is stronger than Goku? Right. For me, I'm just a manga artist. Right. So I think there are other people that can probably give very accurate numbers. But for me, as a manga artist, the number that I give, I would say that it is a number that is at least have to be more than 2. I would say the lowest I will give will be 3. You can maybe argue 2.5, but 3, I think 2.5 to 3 and more. It cannot be just 2 times. It cannot be just 2 times. Buuhan cannot be just twice as strong as SSJ3 Goku. And do you know why? Because you remember those good old days where we have power levels. Right? Those are the nice days, right, where we actually have power levels and they just give us very clear answer on who is stronger, right? But Toriyama and the editors very quickly realized that that's such a bad idea, right? If you can reduce all the battle power and battle outcome down to numbers, then you take away the suspense of the battle, because before the battle start you already know who's going to win, right? If you have all the numbers already, right? So they remove it, but we have official guidebooks that state the power levels, and we have Toriyama himself, saying that I think those numbers are probably right. One interesting thing about it is the famous 50 times multiplier, because I think in the PD I have with Damien, I used the 50 times multiplier, and Damien was saying that you get that from a guidebook. I thought you say don't trust guidebooks. Okay, here's the thing. I'm not saying everything in the guidebook is false. And here's the interesting thing. The 50 times multiplier, how do they arrive at it? It's not purely from the guidebooks. It is mentioned in the guidebook, but the way they derive it is they just do a calculation. So for example, what are the power levels of Goku is in Namek Saga, right? Before he used Kaioken is, if I'm not wrong, is 3 million, right? So 3 million. If he used 10 times Kaioken, he will be at 30 million, right? And Frieza at 50% is 60 million. Okay? And then for Goku to be stronger than full power Frieza, because full power Frieza had to be 60 million times 2, which is 120 million. So from 3 million, I need to get to a number that is more than 120 million. Am I right? So now we have to times in a multiplier. And the number that they decided, that is not really decided by Toriyama, but for those people that do the calculation for him, right, is 50. Right? There is an interview where Toriyama said that it felt more like 10, but then he realized that it cannot be 10. But to him, it felt like 10. So I'll be very honest with you. When we manga artists do this, right, we don't really punch in the numbers very accurately. We go by a kind of a feeling, right? And a feeling can be right, can be wrong. But one thing is for certain: if a character is a lot stronger than character A is a lot stronger than character B, we will make sure that you know it. Okay, so go back to the example of Goku versus Frieza in the Dynamic Saga, where he is fighting Frieza at 50%. Do you remember what happened in the fight? So what happened in the fight is, let's maybe bring out the manga page, right? So what happened is, if you look at the fight, right, you can see that Frieza is a lot stronger than Goku. Even if Goku is using Kaioken times 10, right, 50% Frieza is still much stronger than Goku. And you can see from the fight on how it's depicted, like Goku just don't really stand a chance, right? I really love this fight, man. This fight is so good. Right, so over here is saying that I just need 50%. And you see Goku, you can see Goku start taking damage. You know, Goku start to, you know, feel more pain, feel tired, he's panting and things like that, right? But he's still holding on, right? He didn't give up. It's like he's still trying to fight. Although he knows that I can't win, but he is still there. He is still trying his best to do something, right? That is when he's facing an opponent that is twice as strong as him. Because Goku is at 30 million, right? When fighting Frieza 60 million, he still feels that, you know, he can fight it, right? So I feel that even when he is at, you know, like half the strength of his opponent, he won't straight up give up, right? He still try something. I know you can say that because he has his trump card that he can multiply it to 20 times. But even Goku himself, he doesn't know if it will work or not, right? Because, but the takeaway is, if the gap is, you know, just twice as powerful, right? Because is it like he will still try to figure out something to stay in the fight. But when fighting Buuhan, you don't see that, right? The first time you see Goku doesn't even want to try. He was so desperate that he's thinking, oh, maybe I want to fuse with Hercule forever with the Potara. I mean, that's some crazy thought. You know how desperate, how desperate is Goku? Just imagine how desperate he is, that he is thinking, oh, maybe I can, you know, fuse with Hercule. Maybe that will increase my chances a little bit, right? He just bailed, and he just don't want to fight Buuhan at all. So my estimation is at least 3 times and above. Like, some people might argue that it's way more than that, right? But that's the number I give. I'm curious to know what you all think of what the numbers would be. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on, right? So over here we have already kind of debunked this one, all right? So disproving your claims that they are relative. Since now this one is being debunked, you cannot prove that it didn't disprove my claim. But before that, maybe I should also present my argument and evidence, because yeah, if not, you all will know it, right? You all will know why I say that Kid Buu and Goku, they should be more or less equal, right? Because I'm not sure if I'm being clear enough, because I think in the PD or sometimes when I debate Kid Buu supporters, they will say that no, they are not equal because Goku will lose and things like that. Okay, just to be very clear, right? When I say equal, that means they are more or less relative. In other words, if they fight, you know, out of like 10 times, maybe Goku will win half the time, maybe he'll lose half the time. You know, like, their gap is not big. That's what I'm trying to say. But the gap between Goku and Buuhan is very big. So that is the main argument, right? So it's filling in the wrong color. Okay, white color, that's good. Okay, so now I'm going to argue that Goku and Kid Buu, they are more or less relative. Okay, so what are the evidence, that I can give for all this? Okay, so let's start with the premise, right? So the P1, why is it not read again? Okay, P1, right? Kid Buu and Goku appear to have fight evenly, right? This premise is even agreed by Damien, right? Even Damien in the PD said they do appear to fight equally, and then he said that is because he add in some more context to say that is because Kid Buu is holding back. That's why they appear to fight evenly, right? But Damien did agree that Kid Buu and Goku appear to fight evenly. I think that is something that cannot be disputed. Right? From what we see, they look like they're equal. Later, I'll give evidence on that, right? So we'll take a close look at that. Premise 2, both are not holding back. I'll need to give evidence to show that both are not holding back, right? So I'll be showing that evidence later. Both are not holding back. P3, Goku said he can kill, not just Goku, actually Goku and Vegeta, right? Goku said he can kill Kid Buu if he successfully charge his ki for a minute. Okay, so those are my three main premise, and the conclusion will be Kid Buu is more or less equal to Goku, right? So the first one, Kid Buu and Goku appear to fight evenly. This is something that even Damien agreed, right? They appear to fight evenly, and if you don't agree, right, just look at the fight, man. It's like so the fight starts here. All right. So Goku fires Kamehameha, and you can see that Kid Buu is not totally, like almost more than half his body is being blown off, right? Then he regenerate, and Goku teleport behind him, and he's shocked. So in manga, you look at these symbols, it depicts shock, right? And he is very shocked. Like this is like if you see two exclamation mark, that means he's very shocked. He's really shocked by this, and then he got hit. He didn't react in time. He got hit, right? He stopped. Goku charges. Kid Buu's feet go down, up, kick, and this is very nice visual. Very nice composition, like repeated shapes all the way for you to follow, right? Getting smaller to create space, and that, and then fire a beam blast, right? And then Goku dodges it with instant transmission and landed a kick on Kid Buu, and this kick is so powerful that you see Kid Buu's neck is being stretched. And you can see over here Kid Buu bounce back and strikes back at Goku, and Goku is obviously hit by this and is hurt by this, and they just go on fighting. And they bite each other, they just fire at each other. So if you look at this fight, right, this is from what this looks like. It looks like it's an even fight with a lot of back and forth, right? Right. So we cannot dispute that, because I'm not sure if this is what Sora is arguing. I don't think this is what you are arguing, but I've seen some Kid Buu supporters argue that this fight is not even close. Wait, let me read this again. Like, yeah, I don't think you did say anything about Kid Buu like crushing Goku in a fight, right? In the fight, right? Because I see that from time to time, and I'll be like, are we reading the same manga? It's like that didn't happen, like, because there's a good amount of back and forth. That is not what it looks like if, let's say, because we already I think we can agree that Buuhan is a lot stronger than Goku, right? Because Goku just gave up, right? So this doesn't look like a battle between someone that is a lot stronger than Goku, right? If a Buu form is a lot stronger than the opponent is fighting, what would that look like? Have we seen that before? Have we seen a Buu form that is a lot more powerful than the opponent is fighting? There is one Buu form, isn't it? When Buu tanks versus Gohan, right? Let's look at Buu tanks versus Gohan. So over here we have Buu tanks, right? And look at the fight. Gohan launches a Kid, catches it, catches both kicks, dodges this. So okay, count how many times a Buu tanks is like hit or the hit connects. 0, right? 0 times. One hit to Gohan, and you can see that like it's a close up to show how painful that punch is. And Gohan is shocked. He's very shocked, and you notice there is no shock expression from Buu tanks at all. He is in total control. Nothing shocked him in this fight. He is so much stronger than Gohan over here. There's no contest, right? See, look at his face. Look at his face, right? So look at Gohan's face. Gohan is, is panicking a little bit. You can see that he's struggling a little, right? See, like up till now, if you are counting the hits, 0, a total of 0 hits on Buu tanks, right? See, he tried to hit it, dodges, it just doesn't connect, and boom, down, right? Fires this, bounce it back, and he even say that, oh, like, I'm going to like I still have 10 minutes left, let's have some fun. And he's deliberately holding back so that he didn't kill Gohan right away, right? Because like, still have 10 minutes. I think he could have killed Gohan at any moment at this point. So that is a depiction when you have a Buu form that's massively stronger. You won't get any shock expression, you won't get any panel of him taking any damage or even hits connecting. You won't have any of that because that's how good Toriyama is when he's trying to show you a battle and show you the how strong the characters are relative to each other. Look at this fight. Even Damien agrees that it appears that they are equal. I mean, it's very convincing, right? In fact, if you count the number, I did that, you count the number of times they get hit and how many times they hit each other, it tallies out. That means the numbers are equal. I'm not going to count them that now to save time, but you go back and count it on your own. It is equal. and it's no accident. It's not coincidence. This was planned, right? You might have heard of this thing where Vin Diesel and The Rock, they actually count the number of times they get hit and things like that, right? I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I'm not surprised if it is true because that's what we do in manga as well. So to show that these two characters are like kind of close in strength, right? When we choreograph the whole fight, we have to really count and make sure that, one guy is not getting hit a lot more times than the other, then the fight will look a bit more one-sided than I had intended, right? So premise 1, I will say that, they do appear to fight evenly. So this is true, right? Okay, here's the part where Damien and I disagree, or I think most Kid Buu fans will disagree with me here, because I say both are not holding back. I think they will agree that Goku is not holding back, because that one is quite clear-cut, because Goku actually... I have some Buuhan supporters that says that Goku was holding back, and I will not be biased over here. I will say that they are wrong, because Goku did not hold back. Goku did not hold back, because over here, there's exposition over here, right? Because Vegeta is saying that no need to care about me, right? Just kill Kid Buu, because from his estimation, right? Yeah, you should be able to kill him if you gather all your ki and just launch it, And Goku is saying, yeah, I plan to do that, but I don't have the chance to do it, right? To kill him, I need to really charge a key for 1 minute. Yeah, that means he's really not holding back to give Vegeta a chance. It's like, at least it's not, he's not going like 110%, but he's probably going at 95%. Like, he's not purposely holding back. That's the whole point, right? So I don't think it's fair to say that Goku is holding back. He's not. He's really serious in this fight, and Kid Buu is serious in this fight as well, which is what makes this fight so interesting and so exciting to watch, because we know that these two characters are out to kill each other. It's a very close fight. That's why it's exciting. If you view this through a lens of Kid Buu is holding back massively, and okay, just think about this. Think about it this way. Remember, I say that we really need to learn how to appreciate Toriyama's manga. If now Kid Buu is at least 3 times stronger than Goku, because we already more or less established that Buuhan should be 3 times or more times stronger than Goku. So you watch this fight again with that lens, because I have a feeling that's how Kid Buu fans will read this part, right? So Goku fires Kamehameha, Kid Buu got blown away. This expression over here is him playing, because I mean, you are 3 times stronger, so you being blown apart and have half your body blown is just you creating an illusion that you're weaker, right? And then I'm back, and you are pretending to be shocked over here. You shouldn't be shocked. Hey, come on, you are 3 times stronger than Goku or more. Why are you shocked over here, right? Stop pretending, right? So he kicked Goku, and wow, he's holding back his strength so much, because he need to hold. I mean, he's 3 times stronger. He need to hold back, like only use maybe 30% of my strength, so not to kill Goku with this kick. Fire this. I also need to make sure that I am slowing my speed, so that this guy that is, I'm 3 times stronger than, is keeping up with me. I have to purposely, reduce my power by that much. And then I'm shocked again by Goku's speed somehow, even though I'm 3 times stronger, right? And his kick stretches my neck, even though I'm 3 times or more stronger, all right? I bounce back, I hit him, and okay, look at how when Frieza hit Goku, when it's 50% Frieza versus Goku, like that one hit, look at how painful Goku is. Goku just can't get back, to the fight after that, right? Like you can see that he's stopping for a while. He's like thinking, oh my god, man, this opponent is really strong. But look at here, the Goku just fight back, and there's a back and forth, right? So fire a ki blast, a kick, I bite you, you bite me, right? And here we come to this panel. This is a key panel that a lot of people miss. Kid Buu just fired a candy bean at Goku. Think about this for a moment. Imagine now you are trying to hold back and try to prolong this fight to have fun. Why would you use an instant kill move on your opponent? If you are going to drag out the fight for fun, you're holding back, why are you using an instant kill move? Imagine this. Imagine now I'm fighting you, all right, and halfway through the fight, I pull out a gun and shoot you, but I miss, right? Then, of course, the police will ask me why did I shoot the guy. I say, oh, but I was holding back. I was just playing around, I know I fired a bullet at him, but come on, I'm just playing around. And look how that will hold up in court. I mean, so with this evidence, all right, I feel that they are both not holding back. All right, they are both not holding back. I mean, if you launch an instant kill move at your opponent, that is not what holding back looks like. All right. So if you have any counter to that, because I made that point, but it wasn't counted. It wasn't counted, right? In the PD, right? So both are not holding back. Okay. So Goku said he can kill Kid Buu if he successfully charges ki for a minute. This is the interesting one. Because I think most people will say that, but this is just a statement. It is never proven, right? So you cannot just say that, I say something, therefore it must be true. Okay, here's the part, right? When we come to narrative analysis, right? When we do narrative analysis, we can't use realistic world logic. I'll explain why, right? In this case, in real life, let's say in real life, if someone make a statement where you say that I'm very rich, for example, right? He will need to have evidence to show that he is rich, right? For example, but in a narrative, in the story, in a manga, or in an anime, if a character says something, especially things like I can do this, I can do that, right? Usually, the what we do with it is we assume that it is true. We assume that it is true, unless later there are things that contradict it, or there are already things before that directly contradicts it. So why is there a difference? Why is there a difference when it's narrative? Okay, remember the example where a cell, super perfect cell, say that I can destroy a solar system with this Kamehameha towards the end of his battle with Teen Gohan. Did he actually prove that he can destroy a solar system? No, right? He never really did destroy a solar system, right? But we assume that what he said is true. Because you have to think about it this way, when a writer make a character say something, he is trying to tell us something through the mouth of the character. Okay? That means the writer wants you to know that this piece of information exists, right? And if there is nothing contradicting this piece of evidence, by default we should take it as this is true. Okay, so for example, when Goku said that he can kill Kid Buu if he can successfully charge his ki for a minute, we have to first presume and assume that it is true, unless later on, we have some counter evidence against this, right? So the thing is, are there any counter evidence against this? If there is, let me know, because I can't find any. I can't find any. Right? Because some people will say that, hey, but he didn't, he charged his ki for a minute, but he still failed. Look at the phrasing. If he successfully charged his ki for a minute, he failed to charge his ki for a minute. Because if you read the manga, you know that the reason he gave is because he's in this new alive body that when he's used to be dead, right? He doesn't have this issue. So it's a unforeseen thing, to Goku. It's a handicap, it's a nerf that he didn't foresee, right? If without that nerf, then he can kill Kid Buu if he charges ki for a minute. So another thing I want to point out is this. I think this point is made by Edge. So you see sometimes in the post, Edge will give some comment, and what he said is very true. I thought of the same exact thing as well, but I didn't mention it. He mentioned it, and he says that, think about it for a second. If like Kid Buu is really stronger than Goku, and Toriyama want us to know that, why didn't he let Goku successfully charge his ki for a minute and then have Kid Buu still defeat Goku? Wouldn't that be very clear that Kid Buu is stronger than Goku? And it will make the characters look quite desperate as well, because you thought this will work but it didn't work. Why do you have to make up this very weird handicap that, oh, I have this new body that I didn't know that this new body cannot charge the ki for a minute? Why do you have to make that up? It is so that we know this plan didn't work, not because Kid Buu is stronger, but because Goku didn't know that he cannot do the thing he thought he could do when he had his dead body, right? So this statement, you can take it that it is true. There are a few other statements as well, right? But we won't cover those statements today, because I think we are running out of time. Okay. Okay, so that's it. That's the argument over here. And since over here we have Kid Buu equals Goku, therefore this argument is logically sound. For now, alright? You can try to attack this, and just to let you know, this is kind of like checkmate, because it's very dangerous. Because if you let this point stand, this logical equation will be logically sound, and then you all just lose, right? So this is very important, right? I think I have a feeling this is the reason why when you discuss Kid Buu versus Goku with Kid Buu supporters, right, they are very anxious to defend that Kid Buu is holding back, because instinctively or logically they know that that is a key point. It's a checkmate point, because if somehow they lose that, point, that means we prove that Kid Buu and Goku, they are equal. They lost logically. Right? Logically, Buuhan is stronger than Kid Buu. Right? It is, the logic is here. Right? You cannot fight the logic. So this point, you have to debunk this point. You have to attack this point. Right? And actually, your Kid Buu stronger than Goku argument can be used to fight this. Right? But I already debunked that. So now, you're at the state that you have nothing to attack this. Right? So try to come up with something to attack this, to respond to this. Right? So I'll be waiting for that. But as of now, this is the status, right? So it's like that checkmate. So usually it works like this. So if the next reply, right, if you don't have anything, that means you lose, right? But if you have something, we can look at that something, right? Then the debate will continue, right? So we make sure don't ignore this, because a lot of times when you debate with someone, they'll look at this and they'll be like, okay, I think I cannot debunk this, but I have other evidence. Let's look at other evidence. It doesn't work that way, as you can see. Because if this stands, if this argument is sound, we can use this argument, the conclusion, as the premise, and then this whole thing will be logically sound, and the debate will end there already, right? That's how logic works. So just to reiterate, this is very important for you all. You have to attack this. Please, you have to attack this. If not, if you just leave it here, you lost, right? You lost. This is checkmate, right? So please try to debunk this if you can, all right? And I'm very tempted to end over here, because I've been recording this since like, is it 5 or 6 a.m. And it's not that I wake up early, it's because I didn't sleep, right? What's the next point? Alright, Genki Dama, right? And the vast majority of official media, blah, blah, yeah. I think you'll focus on the Genki Dama, and then we will move on to the logical part, right? The logic discussion. And I think I'll split it into 2 parts at least, okay? Because my voice is getting really sore. Oh. Okay, so here you have it. Okay, Spirit Bomb. Because if you think about it, right? What feats does Kid Buu have in Dragon Ball? The main feats will be he fought Goku, and they appear to fight evenly. They appear to fight evenly, right? And the other one would be he held the Spirit Bomb in place, right? So those are the two main feats that the Kid Buu side would love to bring up, And I'm going to address the Genki Dama, the Spirit Bomb point, okay? And over here, I already addressed it. I actually typed a long response to it. I also addressed it in the PD. All right, so everything is there, and I'm just going to respond to how Sora respond to my take on the Spirit Bomb. Right. So over here, Sora said that Spirit Bomb did not contain. This is what I said. I said that the Spirit Bomb did not contain the maximum amount of ki. Actually, I have a lot of words after this, but I think Sora just quote and cut out this part. Cube association fallacy. Association fallacies. Because Genki Dama took all the energy from the people. Okay. By the way, do you know why my replies are so long in the PD? It's because I don't just list out the fallacy, right? I will list out the fallacy and explain the fallacy and connect the fallacy to the argument to show why that is a fallacy, right? In this case, you mentioned association fallacy, but I know what it is, but I don't see how it links to what you're saying. So I need you to clarify that. I'm not saying what you say is untrue, but I really can't see the link. And usually when that happens sometimes in debates, right? And usually when I try to forcefully interpret what you're trying to say by saying that I committed the association fallacy, right? I'll be highly likely to make a straw man out of it because I really don't know what you mean over here. So I'll be trying to imagine what are you trying to say, and I will create an argument for you, which is usually a straw man. So let's just skip that step, right? So later, if you are trying to clarify this, right, let me know. Like, explain why it's an association fallacy, right? So that I know what you mean. Okay. So except it's explicitly stated that the Genki Dama took all the energy it could take until it left the people depleted. Yes, that is correct. That's in the manga. You know that if you actually read the scans provided. I don't need to read the scans because I don't know why, but I think that will be true for most people that read Dragon Ball, right? You don't even need to read the scans because the story is in your brain. So I do know that they took all the energy that that the fighters can so-called give, right? But now you go and read carefully what I say. I didn't stop here. Right? So where is my argument? Okay, I think I'll just turn it on over here, right? I do know that, like, right? Because it is in the manga. So what did I say, right? Just go to that part where is the spirit bomb part. Read this carefully. I said the spirit bomb did not contain the maximum ki that can possibly generated by the fighters. Okay, what do I mean by that? I don't just stop there, right? I explain what do I mean by that, right? I explain that Spirit Bomb can only collect Genki, which means that their base ki, right? And they could charge up their base ki, right? The Spirit Bomb cannot collect charge ki, right? Or at the very least, I should have phrased it better. The Spirit Bomb, there's no proof. We haven't seen the Spirit Bomb being capable of collecting charge ki. Maybe it could and nobody knows, I don't know, but it was never shown, so we cannot assume that it could. Right? That's good logic, right? So we cannot assume that it can collect charge ki because we never seen that happen. Right? So when Goten and Trunks did not send their ki in SSJ form, it's a tell, right? Because if they can, why didn't they do it? Like, imagine if they can, Vegeta would be talking to them and say, Trunks, don't be lazy, just transform now. What are you doing? We are fighting Kid Buu over here. Just transform and send as much energy as you can. None of that, right? They are in their base form, right? And they are just sending their base ki. Okay? They could have charged up their ki massively before sending it, right? Like, as I say, but they did not because that's not how the Genki Dama works, right? At least it wasn't shown to us that that's how it works. It's not like this a key thing where you can just like key Wi-Fi thing, a key cloud thing where you can just charge up the key and just send it. I don't think it works that way, right? It can only accept your base key, right? And charge key is a real thing, right? It's not something that I made up, right? Android 20 and Piccolo's fight, right? If you read that part, should I pull up the scans? So I'll just be talking and looking for the scans at the same time. So if you remember the battle, right? Android 20, right? He can actually absorb energy ki from the fighters, right? So he went ahead and absorbed the ki of Piccolo, right? To the point that Piccolo, I think, looked like he almost died, right? Because he's like almost depleted of ki, and as we know, if you ran out of ki, like the life force, you're probably dead, right? So over here, right, if you look at the panel, I'm at that book right now. Oh no, next book, all right? So book over here, right? Over here. So we have Android 20 over here. Oh no, before that. So you can see that he absorbed, right, all the ki, right? Then he's naively thinking that, if I absorb all your ki already, right? He say that. Where is that? Yeah, over here. It's not possible, right? I already absorbed your ki, right? so it's like how is it possible? Then Piccolo is saying that remember this, in battle, we can increase, like the energy thing that you're taken from us, which is key lah, and we explode it. All right. Hence, just now, even if you take like 90% of it, it doesn't matter. That 90%, I already get back with Sensu Beam, and then I can charge and explode the 90% to make it more than what you have taken from me, right? So it doesn't really matter at the end. So yeah, over here we cannot prove that the Genki Dama contains the maximum ki that can be possibly generated by the fighters. So you cannot say that include the ki of Mystic Gohan and things like that. Therefore, that ki is not enough to kill Kid Buu. Kid Buu is like holding the spirit bomb in place. There's two issues with that, but the first issue is you cannot even say that Genki Dama contain the maximum ki that can be generated by Gohan, right? You can't say that because we don't have evidence of that, right? Not saying that is 100% not true and is wrong, but we are not shown that, so we don't have the evidence to claim that. Understand that, right? So let's switch this off and then go back to the. Is there anything else that I said, right? Okay, so over here, you actually notice if you're too busy reading the scan, building hit cannons. So the thing about hit cannon is this: what is more like a hit cannon? That the Genki Dama can get charge ki? That is more like a hit cannon, right? Because that wasn't mentioned anywhere in the manga. It wasn't demonstrated anywhere in the manga. And from my understanding of what hit cannon is if that thing that you think is true is not mentioned or demonstrated in the manga, it will be fair to call it hit cannon. So it is really ironic that you say that I'm too busy building hit cannons, but the fact that you say that you claim that they can take in the charge ki, that in itself is a hit cannon, isn't it? Right? I didn't claim that they didn't took all the energy till it left the people depleted. They did. I mean, it's common knowledge among people that read Dragon Ball that happened. But that doesn't mean that they take all the ki that can be possibly generated by them. They take all the ki that's in them. It's a little bit like this. Let's say I have this. Let's say I have $10 in my wallet, all right, and I have this magic purse that can multiply it by 50, all right. So you took away my $10. That's all the money I have, right? But is that the maximum amount of money that I can give you? No, because I could have taken the $10, put in the magical purse, multiply by 50, all right? Then I give it to you. See the difference between that? But maybe you cannot accept the money because it's multiplied by the magic, right? So you can only take that $10. That's an analogy that I can give you all, right? And since, as I mentioned again and again, it's hit cannon, right? Because that it can take charge ki because it was never shown, right? Even if you give me one panel, of a Super Saiyan sending the ki to Genki Dama in the original manga, just show me that, right? Then that will be proof lah that you can actually take in charge ki, but you cannot find a single panel, right? Because I've combed through the whole manga, there isn't anything like that. Okay. Are you telling me X and Y? Are you trying to prove you never pay attention to DBZ at this point? PL works exponentially. Okay, even just 3 million humans will provide more ki than Frieza. Okay, I think I was saying this. I was saying that when you have the Genki Dama, right, that is like it doesn't look too big when Gohan they all send their ki, and then it swells up with a lot of ki after a lot of people send it. I use that to try to explain that, see, like visually the writer is trying to tell you that, hey, the ki that you get from the fighters, right, is actually okay, it's a lot, but it's Genki, it's not the maximum ki possible, so it's not super big. But then if you combine all the ki from the regular humans, even though they're not very strong, because it's Genki and there's a lot of them, so it's a lot more significant, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's all good, but my main point is this. My main point is that small ball over there is trying to show the readers that, even if it's someone like Gohan. Hey, wait a minute. Okay, look at this. Look at something like this. This argument, I think, is never made by anybody. All right, I'm going to try and show you all this. to be honest, I thought about this just now, right? So look at the Genki Dama for a moment, right? And where is it? Okay. So this is the Genki Dama, right? That Gohan, Piccolo, and Trunks and Goten send, right? Look at the Genki Dama over here, right? Then we compare it to a Genki Dama that is many chapters ago, right? If you look at the Genki Dama that we have in the Frieza saga, right? Let's look at the size of it. This will be the chapter. Alright, and because we have Frieza there for scaling, right? We have Frieza there for scaling. You look at the scaling, look at how small Frieza is and how big the Genki Dama is. If I'm a visual storyteller, alright, which one do you think is stronger? If you say this is stronger, right, I will say that it's a bit visually misleading, right? I'm not saying it's 100% not true, but it will be visually misleading, right? Because this is so much bigger, right? So I'd like to hear some of your thoughts, and from the Buuhan side, from the Kid Buu side, what do you all think? Which Genki Dama is stronger, do you think? Right? Because I think for the Kid Buu side, they'll argue that this is stronger because I mean, Mystic Gohan's ki is there, you know, and things like that. But you look at the size of this thing, right? Maybe you can argue that it's more dense, that one is less dense, like, but then again, it's head canon, isn't it? You know, but as a visual artist, like, we will use size. I mean, it's proven that we use size to depict the strength of the Genki Dama, right? Like, the bigger it is, the stronger it is. I mean, it's a common thing that it's not something that I made up. I mean, it's something that is already demonstrated and explained and shown to us in the manga. So I don't think that's head canon. So I think I have something over here where I say that, you know, this Genki Dama should be stronger than this one, right? And even Vegeta is like, this Genki Dama is still it doesn't look very impressive, right? It doesn't look very impressive, right? Yeah, so it doesn't contain the maximum amount of ki that Gohan can produce, and Gotenks and Trunks can produce, and Piccolo can produce. It just simply doesn't, right? Because of my explanation just now that it doesn't take charge ki. Okay. And then you have a lot of, and since you like to be so long-winded and try to apply mechanics from different techniques, I think you're referring to a lot of the things that I said over here, right? I think the mechanics, I didn't say a lot of mechanics, right? I just mentioned two, right? Which is ki can be charged, that's one mechanics, and this is not something that I invented, right? I mean, Piccolo said it, right? So it is something that is referenced in the manga and is explained by Piccolo. And the other one is also something that we see, right? It took Genki. It's something that is called the Genki Dama. I mean, yeah. So it's also something that we see, right? So those are the two mechanics that I give, right? So any other mechanics that I give, I think that's all right, right? And then you say that it's shown by Super Saiyan God ki actually tends to be exponential beyond just 2 plus 2. Okay. In fact, every other technique relies on okay, so in fact, almost every technique that relies on multiple beings adding their energy works with a multiplicational factor rather than an additional factor. So both in canon and even non-canon, two of the most infamous examples come from the Genki Dama itself. So with the Genki Dama, Goku used versus Frieza in Namek, overwhelming 50% Frieza, even though it's mainly just you're using nature, energy, and infamously Trunks Spirit Sword in DBS. Okay, so the Trunks, I'll talk about it later. So yes, it's actually proven Genki Dama works as the opposite of how you claim, and it is indeed. How did I claim? What did I claim? It can be a bit more clear here, right? And it's indeed more than SSJ3 Goku. Is it though? Right. So over here, you basically see if I'm wrong in this. So basically, you summarize that. Because ki is exponential, blah blah blah, it multiplies and things like that. So Genki Dama should be very strong, right? So here's my question. So can you kind of quantify it? Can you give a number to it? Can you kind of give a number to it? Because you are using numbers like 3 millions, 2.4 million and things like that. And I think over here you also say something like uh, I should take courses on elementary math. So because Genki Dama doesn't need to be good in stamina to push it. It falls by the weight, force proportion to the key in it. Blah blah blah. I think you are trying to say that you have some sort of calculation that this thing is so heavy and because of gravity and things like that. You have some numbers, in other words, to prove your point. So just curious, do you have those numbers? Do you have a working model of this thing that you came up with? Because you say things like 3 million humans, by the way, how many humans are there in the Dragon Ball universe? Was it ever mentioned in the manga? It might be mentioned in some guidebooks that I'm not very sure, but I don't think it's mentioned in the manga ever, right? That the number of humans. So it should be in the billions, right? So if you assume that it's like Earth, it's probably in the billions, right? But anyway, okay, so you punch in those numbers, and then the power level is 5. Then so you have all these numbers over here that you kind of give a value to the key, and you link it to power level and all this kind of thing. So my question is, this mechanics of how the Genki Dama work, where do you get it from? Is it from a guidebook? Because I have read quite a few guidebooks, and I have never seen any guidebook explain how to calculate the key of the Genki Dama. But if it's something you come up with, do let me know. But with things that you come up with, especially this kind of thing where you give a calculation on like how much energy is in this thing, and you give a number to it, right? It's very dangerous because there's a good chance that you'll be hit cannon, right? And I understand that in the power scaling community, this is a very common thing, right? Like for example, Goku versus Superman, and then you will use some math and physics to calculate, and to quantify this attack, how strong it is, how much force it produces, blah blah blah. Okay, you think about it for a second. Right? Imagine now you are Toriyama, right? You are writing your story. Okay, you have a crazy schedule. You have to produce one chapter every week. Imagine you're writing the story right now. Would you be punching in all those numbers and so because of this physics and this and that, and you do some physics calculation, this is this, and then that's how it works? Do you really think Toriyama did that? I can tell you for sure we don't do that. As manga artists, we don't do that. We don't really go into the actual physics of the thing. In fact, we will even say things like this. We will even claim things like that. We will say that this Earth operates on a different physics than the real Earth. So your fans can forget about calculation. Because you know why? Because we will make things up. And we know if you look closely into the physics of it, none of the things will make sense. Right? So we will just tell you straight away, this is not real world. You're it's just some magic thing over here. The physics is it's not one-to-one to Earth. But then why is it that we do that a lot in power scaling debates and things like that? That's because, right, we have no choice sometimes, especially in terms of cross-verse scaling. For those that are not very familiar with this, right, there's inverse scaling and cross-verse scaling. So what's the difference? So inverse scaling is you are comparing two characters that are in the same universe. For example, Dragon Ball characters like Kid Buu and Buuhan, for example, they are in the same universe. Right, so they are in the same rule. This is also the reason why I believe that when you have this kind of versus battle or debate, right, they will specify where this battle takes place, because that space, right, will have its own physical rules and its own set of physics, to follow, right, and they fight in that realm, right, and then they will follow the physics over there, right. But if you are doing cross-verse, right, there's nothing you can do to scale the characters because there's no story and narrative to help you scale the characters, right? So you have no choice but to use this very complicated physics calculation, energy calculation to try to figure out who is actually stronger, right? And I respect people that do that because first of all, they have no choice, right? But if you're doing inverse, you really don't have to do it, right? Because you have narrative evidence and other evidence that is so much more accurate. It requires less hit cannon on our part, right? So my question is, why not use that? And if you're using this, you have to then create a model And after you calculate this Genki Dama, right, you have to do a calculation for Buuhan and Kid Buu. You're aware of that, right? Because that's how real-world physics works, right? So you calculate like how strong this Genki Dama is. Then you have to have some exact numbers because that's how physics works. You need to be very exact with the numbers, right? You need to have a working model. That's why I will never be a physicist because I know from the start that I really don't want to do this thing, right? Because it's way too complex. I just want to draw things. I just want to be a mangaka, and when I draw things, I will give the readers, right, hints of how strong this thing is, without the need of you all to do all this number thing. Because, come on, if I need you to do all these things, I fail as an artist, because you all cannot tell from my pictures that what is going on, right? So over here, I think Toriyama already did tell us that, you know, this Genki Dama that we have in the beginning, you know, that this Genki Dama compared to the Genki Dama over here, he's trying to tell us that this Genki Dama big, strong, and things like that, right? And I have a feeling Toriyama doesn't really care about the scaling of the size that's much. Because you look at this again, right? Because if you think about this, you see this how big the Genki Dama is for the Namek saga, right? This is for the Buu saga, right? Then you go towards the end, right? You realize that if you look at how big the Genki Dama is, the size actually fluctuates. The size actually fluctuates, but even if it fluctuates, right? Okay, look at it like this. So you can see this Genki Dama, right? Actually, if you look at this, like compared to Frieza, right? Frieza's one looks so much bigger. This looks so much bigger. Right, but we know that this Genki Dama should be way stronger than this one, isn't it? So what's happening over here? I think we will have to do this thing where we come up with some logic to explain it, right? Maybe, and look at how, like, this just doesn't look that big, right? You have to come up with some reasoning, right? Then maybe because this Genki Dama is more dense than this one, right? I'm going to be frank with you all. When the mangaka, when we are doing this, right, Toriyama is not going to go back to this, alright, and then tell himself that, okay, this power level for Frieza is 60 million. By the time we reach here, it should be in the billions. So this Genki Dama have to be how big? How much bigger? Like, can we do some math to see how big it is? Oh, after doing the math, you realize that if this is the Genki Dama size, right? Kid Buu will be probably this speck of dust over here. Okay. That will be the accurate sizing if we. I don't think he thinks that way. In fact, we don't think that way. So how do we think? We think of it like this, alright? I need to show the spirit bomb being very big. I need to show Kid Buu stopping the spirit bomb, right? Holding it in its place, right? I need to make sure that people can see what's happening. That's what he thinks. That's what an artist thinks. We're really not going to think that how big this is, and then you go and do some calculation to draw like at 100% how big that thing is. No. We will draw it relatively in the chapter that is like close to each other. So for example, in this case, like, you know, like this, you see, like this key, right? When it bumps in, you can see, oh, the spirit bomb from small becomes big. You know, that's all we want to show you, right? But anyway, right? All this, you need to give me a model. You need to give me a model, right? And then this was shown since Namek Saga where Goku was beat. Oh, I think this part Sora is talking about, you know, the Genki Dama doesn't need you to push it. It falls by its own weight. Okay. And then here's the thing, right? So you are claiming that Goku does not need to be good in stamina to push it, because you can have it just drop on the opponent, right? Okay, here's my question. Here's my question. So how many times have you seen the Genki Dama in action? We actually seen it a lot more times than what you remember, right? Because do you remember the first time you see the Genki Dama? I think most people might say that first time you see when used by Goku against Vegeta, isn't it? Actually, that's not the first time you see the Genki Dama. If you remember, the first time you see the Genki Dama is actually Goku practicing it on King Kai's planet, right? You know how do you know why I remember this? Is because there's actually this Game Boy game. I think some of you are too young to don't even know what a Game Boy is. That you need to have this mini game of controlling the Genki Dama. So I remember very distinctively that you need to actually, go and control it and push it around, and then you have to time it. You have to press the button, this and that. So I remember very vividly that the Genki Dama first appeared then, even before the battle with Vegeta. Right, so back then you would think that the Genki Dama is this thing that is working like, Yamcha's attack with that ball. I can't remember what's the name of that attack, where he can control the ball and then he just moves around. You're right. I'll show you, because in case some of you don't remember that, let's go to the exact manga over here, right? Should be this book. So how does the Genki Dama work then? Like, do you need to control it, or you can just drop it? Like, what is going on over here, right? Because there's a lot of different depiction of the Genki Dama, right? And sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. Okay, over it. So it's at the planet now, alright? So this part, look, Genki Dama, the first. So he gathers the Genki, right? Gather Genki, then he's this is the game where this thing is moving around very fast, and I need to press the button at the exact right time to blast it, right? So he needs to fire it, he needs to control it. It looks like, right? He need to kind of control and push it and fire it, right? It's not something that you just a form and then you just drop it on your opponent, right? But sometimes, like, when did he use the drop thing? Do you see it happen when he just dropped that thing? I think the only time we see it is in the Namek saga when he used it against Frieza, isn't it? Because before that, when he tried to use it against Vegeta, it's also kind of like firing it, right? Because actually he wasn't really the one using it, right? Because if you remember, if you look at this, like, it's Krillin that throws it, right? And then Gohan bounces it back. Okay, is it? It's here. So I saw the Genki Dama, right? So over here, yeah, it's just throw it. Yeah, you just throw it and then just go all the way there. It's like now it behaves like a ball, right? That you just throw, and then Gohan bounce it back, and then hits Vegeta. So like every time it's depicted, it looks a bit different, right? Like kind of like works a bit differently. And when there's a launch at Frieza, like you look at the situation, right? I have a feeling it's because when Goku used it against Frieza, right? If you look at what happened, he is, oh my god, look at Goku over here. He's just so exhausted, right? He looks very tired, right? He looks very tired because, I mean, he's fighting someone that's twice as strong as him, right? It's really a miracle that he didn't die here, right? Yeah, so after he does this, right, why is it that, okay, this might, I'm not sure if it is intended, but from what you see over here, right, see when Goku pushed this down, he says he say like brace yourself in some way, like, if I'm the writer, right, when I do this, right, I think what I'm trying to show is this thing is so strong that we cannot be near it already. Like once you kind of launch it, right, you have to go and hide or do something about it. And I think Goku is too tired to control this thing. I mean, yeah, probably that's the reason why. Probably he could have controlled it and then push it down against Frieza if he wants to, but he doesn't have the stamina to do it, right? It doesn't mean that this is the only way the Genki Dama can work, because that would be ignoring all the instances of, like for example, in the very first appearance of the Genki Dama, where Goku is really controlling it so precisely that it can hit an object at very fast speed, right? So when he's in full health, he seems to have quite a good mastery of Genki Dama, right? Then the other time is Krillin using it. So I mean, Krillin has no training on using it, so I don't think we can use that as evidence of how the Genki Dama actually works, because I think Krillin is, I know how to throw Destructo this, and I just throw this thing like Destructo this. I think that's what he's thinking, right? But this is evidence that, you know, you need some stamina, right, to properly use it. Maybe this is not the best proper way to use it, but Goku has no choice, because he's just thinking, just throw it, and maybe that's why Frieza survived. I mean, right? Yeah, we have no proof of that, but I'm just saying, maybe that's why Frieza survived, right? Because he didn't really use it and properly. He just he doesn't have enough, you know, ki to properly detonate it, maybe, right? But anyway, the main point is, you know, how does the Genki Dama work? It is inconclusive, isn't it? Like we are shown so many things. We cannot claim that, you know, does not need to push it. We cannot make that claim. Just like I cannot make that claim that it has to be controlled for it to work, because we have seen instances that, you know, Goku just, you know, pull down and then the ball just keep dropping. My guess is the truth is somewhere in between, right? If you want to control it, you can, if you have the stamina and things like that. Or if the Genki Dama is not so big, you can even be flexible with it, because you can see how well Goku control it and hit the flying brick that King Kai is using to test him, right? So conclusion, we cannot claim that this is true, because not enough evidence. Yeah. Pushing it only becomes a factor if the opponent is strong enough to push it back. Again, like, is this like stated anywhere? You know, like, and even if it is, let's say it is, you have to kind of quantify this feat, right? It's like, what do you mean by Kid Buu pushing back this Genki Dama? How does this scale Kid Buu to be above Buuhan? That's a very hard thing to do, isn't it? Because you need a lot of numbers for that to make that argument work, right? Oops, did I just drag myself away just now? Yeah, okay. Alright, we are still here. Okay, so over here, in fact, Shins and the Namek state that they wish they had energy to give enough. No, no, they didn't say that. Did I remember wrongly? They didn't say that. They acknowledged that it was lacking was energy, and acknowledged that they have give all possible. The last part is true. They have give all energy they can give without charging it. Like, not really. This part is not true if you use the word possible. Like, as I explained before, I'm not going to explain it again, right? Because Genki Dama does not accept charge ki. If it does, please provide the evidence, and then we can, you know, verify that. That's not true. And then series stating that adding more energy from anyone, series stating that any more energy from anyone, hence why Goku Rihanna Sana would give the win because he had more energy to add to the tug of war. That was never mentioned. Are we reading the same manga? That was never mentioned, right? Did I? No, I've read this manga so many times. I'm sure it wasn't described that way at all. Where do you read that? Which page is that? I read it so many times, not once. Let's go to the part where it's holding back, alright? So here is the part where the Namekians and the Namekians are saying something over here together with the Okai, right? So based on the translation, and the translation is quite accurate to the original Japanese text, okay? So, oh no, the Genki Dama, the power, the key of it, is it still not enough? Okay, it's a question mark by right. If you look at the phrasing, then Namekian is saying, how is that possible? It uses all our ki already, right? Then in hell, it's like, they use all our ki too. You have to, keep fighting, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So this one is a question, right? They're not saying, Okai is not making a statement saying that, oh, the Genki Dama does not have enough power. He didn't say that, all right? And here, Vegeta give an exposition. Kakarot, when firing the Genki Dama, don't have enough stamina. He doesn't have enough stamina to fire the Genki Dama. So that's an exposition, right? And is that true or not? Because, okay, I actually mentioned this in my reply, right? In my reply, I actually mentioned this, right? But why isn't this addressed at all? Why didn't you say anything about this? Because it is canon, right? I mean, the statement is here, right? But you didn't mention anything about that in your reply at all. Okay, so here's a tip. When you are in the debate, right? When you're in the debate, you list out some points and you discover that your opponent didn't rebut those points, right? Instead, they list out more new points and try to counter you with that, right? A lot of debaters, they'll be distracted by the new points raised by the opponent. Okay lah, you can pay some attention to them, but think of those new points as distraction. They're like soldiers sent by your opponent to say, your mama so fat that she can cosplay as guru, right? Something like that. Don't get too distracted by that. You can address that later, but keep your eyes on the points that they purposely ignore. They don't want to say anything about it. They just keep quiet about it. Those are usually the weak spot. They cannot debunk it. That's why they choose not to say anything about it. So over here, you can see that I'm trying my best to go through every single thing so that I can, provide a response that covers every single thing you said, right? But over here, you miss out something that I said that is very important. I said that Vegeta himself said this, and it's actually Toriyama saying it if you think about it, because it's an exposition. Toriyama is trying to tell you from the mouth of Vegeta that the stamina is the issue, all right? Then this is a question, is the key not enough? Question mark. He's not stating that, the key is not enough. No, that's not what the Okai is saying, right? And then the best part is over here. Dende is like saying, can help teleport me to Goku so that I can recover his stamina? And Shin over here says that, the one that's fused with Kibito, right? Saying that, I already used up my Genki, right? So I can't teleport you there. So sorry, right? Then Dende is like, we are fucked, right? So and Porunga, and the best part of Porunga is saying, they have the wish, and then the wish is, look at this. The wish is, can you give Goku back his stamina? So we have 3 mentions of the stamina, and then what happened next? Goku's stamina is regained. You claim that his stamina remains, and then he pump in more ki to the Genki Dama. That's how they won, right? That's what you said. If that's not what you said, let me know. Okay, let's read this again. You say that they acknowledge that it was a lack of energy. No, they didn't. They also acknowledge that they provide all energy possible to Genki Dama. They provide all energy to Genki Dama, not all energy possible, right? Saying that, series stating that adding more energy from anyone. No. They didn't say that, and hence why Goku recovering his stamina will give him the win, because he have more energy to add to the Tower of War. He didn't. He didn't. Right? He didn't add more energy to the Tower of War at all. Right? So if he has, if he did, so if he did add in the energy, show me the panel that he did that, or show me the exposition that he did that. Either one of those things. No. In fact, you have a in fact you have a panel over here with the exposition. Yeah, it's back, it's back. My stamina is back. Thank you, Dragon Ball. Where is the key that Goku pumped into the Genki Dama? No, it's nothing, right? And then once he has stamina back, he's using it in one hand. He's showing off now that Kid Buu stands no chance after he can use the Genki Dama properly, right? So this is more than your opinion on how this should work. The series explicitly stated that. No, it didn't explicitly say it. No, they didn't say it. I checked. I mean, if it stated, show me where. Don't just claim it. Okay, there's no debate around this. There is a lot of debate around this. Like, I just show you, right? So there's also this argument that, you know, this is not really a feat, right? Because like he's holding this back. Why? How is it possible that Kid Buu can hold this back? It's because Goku has lack of stamina to use this properly, right? When he can use this properly, like totally stand no chance really, right? So I don't know how to quantify this feat. It's a very weird feat, right? It's a feat that ultimately ended with Kid Buu's death. I mean, it's like yeah, I mean, I don't know how you're going to argue that this feat scales Kid Buu above Buuhan, right? I think the closest thing y'all did try to come up with is like the Genki Dama contains Gohan's ki, his entire possible ki that he can generate, and then Kid Buu can somehow still hold it in place and things like that. But that, see, even if that's true, you need to assume a lot of things. You need to assume a lot of things. You need to assume that the Genki Dama somehow because imagine this. Imagine if Gohan has all his ki, and usually how would they kill their opponent with their ki? They'll just launch in an attack like a Kamehameha where there's some ki momentum and then they just destroy their opponent, right? But in this case, it's a Genki Dama ball, and if you look at the ball, right, like, you know, from what is shown visually, it's like it's not like the ball crushes Kid Buu, right? It feels like, look at this, it looks like the ball kind of detonates, right? And then, like, yeah, then it kills Kid Buu that way, right? You see, this is very similar to how, like, if I mean, you can't differentiate if this is being killed by Genki Dama or Kamehameha. If you just look at this panel alone, right? If you don't know the context of it, right? It just looks kind of similar, right? So yeah, we just don't have enough evidence to claim the things that you claim. That's the main takeaway, right? So that about covers it for the Genki Dama as well, right? Let me know your response for this. The next part that I'll be covering will be the part where we talk about logic. I think you start to talk about dependent arguments, independent arguments, contextual arguments, as well as like contingent arguments or contingent premises and all this, and self-contingent, all this kind of thing, which is actually quite fun to talk about. But I choose not to talk about those first, is because I want to focus more about Dragon Ball. But don't worry, even the part 2 video where I talk about the logic, there will still be a lot of Dragon Ball things in it. Right, just that it will be a little bit more logical focus. I'll try to use as much Dragon Ball examples as possible to keep it still linked to Dragon Ball. Right, so that's all for this. Looking forward to your reply. Right, I'll try to post part 2 as soon as I can. All right, so maybe either Tuesday or Wednesday, provided I don't fall sick. I feel that I'm falling sick. All right, so that's all for today. Right, so see y'all. Bye bye.